Merry Christmas. Looking for a gift tonight? That'd be nice. Yeah. Happy Monday to you. Game day, baby. Game day. Bill Michaels Show on the air. And good to have you on board today. It's going to be kind of a short and quick, repetitive one. And the reason being is because we're going to go for a few hours, and then those 2 hours are going to regurgitate because got to get up to Green Bay and Lambeau Field. So going to be up there a little bit later on this afternoon. We got to get set up at Burkle's one block over and get the show ready to go for the Green and Gold postgame show coming up tonight as the Packers are taking on the New Orleans Saints. Monday Night Football, some snow in the forecast. I hope whoever, and I would assume that they are all over it, but whoever's via the DPW tonight, they're hosing down 43 and 41 and all the surrounding areas big time, because I guess the inclement weather is supposed to hit around the noon hour today, at least over on this side of the state, which again, 43 going up and down can be treacherous at times. So last time I was coming home, saw quite a few accidents. As a matter of fact, had to get rerouted because there was such a large accident on the highway that it took us through Manitowoc, or just below Manitowoc, and all the way down along the lakeshore and then back out onto the highway. So hopefully tonight, everything's going to be hosed down. The salt is going to be out, and it's going to be smooth sailing for both all the motorists and the fans heading to Lambeau, as well as the Green Bay Packers trying to get themselves their 11th win of the season. Not a bad way to go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Yes! I got my Merry Christmas shirt on today. You can't see the full shirt, but Cousin Eddie, baby. Cousin Eddie. That's what I got today via the Merry Christmas shirt. And the bottom of it is verbiage that I cannot use on the air. But you remember what Cousin Eddie said when he was standing out in front of Clark W. Griswold's house emptying the septic pipe for his RV. Yeah, there you go. That's the bottom quote. So how are we looking? That's what the Green Bay Packers are going to say to the Saints tonight. The S is full, baby. It's full. You got to go. You got to go. So there you have it. You want to hit us up? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to text us, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. You can watch us each and every day. Please subscribe. Follow us over on YouTube. Don't forget, if you, for whatever reason, Joe, you got it over on the live stream, by the way. Joe just tweeted it out or put it out to us. So, yes, you got it. If you want to watch us and the Green Gold postgame show tonight live from Burkle's one block over, as well as the huddles and all the postgame shows, not to mention we are getting ready. We're now starting our preparation for the Super Bowl. We're going to be down in New Orleans this year, live from Radio Row, the 3rd through February 3rd through the 7th. So make sure you have you follow us there on YouTube so you can watch all the programs from down there as well. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can hit us up over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Wisco Grant. You can also find us on the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok pages as well under the Bill Michaels Show. Over on the Twitch app, the Kick app, LinkedIn as well. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website, thebillmichaels.com. You've got WOZN, our mighty flagship station out there in Madison. That is WOZN, The Zone Madison. And then you can always listen to us after the fact on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts and all that kind of good stuff as well. I don't even know, because Grant is out of the country or something. I don't know what he's doing. Who's producing today? Is this Austin?
Yes, correct.
Austin. So is
Grant's out of the country. I love that.
I was going to say, is Grant on today or is he not on today?
I think his show is on. I think this is his holiday tour week. So he's up in Eau Claire.
So I know he was in Eau Claire because he's doing some stuff for Grant's on his own tour. Grant has branched off on his own, which is fine. That's what we do, is we raise him up to fly out of the nest and head out from there. But I know he his what do we call Rachel? Girlfriend at this point? Because they live together. Significant other?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
still
girlfriend, but yeah, they do live together.
Yeah.
But,
so they're living together, but nevertheless, she stopped by and got all the equipment. So he is all hooked up. So I don't know necessarily where he's going to be. I think he's going to be at a car dealership. And then I think he's going to be at a bar or grill and pub or something like that up in Eau Claire. So he's doing the Eau Claire tour. So he's out there. So what time we got Mike Clemens today?
I believe final half hour.
Final half hour this hour?
11:30, I believe.
Okay.
I'll double check, but I think 11:30.
So there we go. We got Mike Clemens coming up today. We're going to hear from inside of the locker room a lot today. We got all kinds of stuff coming up. Edrin Cooper, we're going to hear from. Matt Lafleur, going to hear from. Who else? MVS. We got some sound from MVS. So Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who is the wide receiver for the Saints, former Green Bay Packer. So all kinds of good stuff. So we got a few people to hear from today. We're going to be good. A full weekend, by the way, in football this weekend, which was fantastic. Oh my goodness. It was so good. First of all, I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of rooting for Notre Dame to get beat. I know for all the Golden Domers that were hitting me up saying, Cignetti didn't belong. They at least played competitive. It wasn't close, but at least it was competitive. So I give Indiana credit for getting there. SMU got their doors blown off. That was they weren't even in that game. That was just a bad football game. And then what happened over at the Shoe early on Saturday with Ohio State just drubbing Tennessee. Tennessee had a little bit of a valiant comeback, but basically Ohio State imposed their will. And I got to say, between you, me, and the fence post, it wouldn't have mattered to me either way, whatever the outcome was, because on one hand, it was great to see Ohio State win. On the other hand, it was sad to see him win because it meant that Ryan Day was going to keep his job. Ryan Day's such a weenie. Every time I see the guy, I get more and more aggravated. I don't know why, I just do. But anyway, so and then you had good football over the weekend, and now you've got shakeups. You got shakeups going on right now in the National Football League. So here's the way it shakes out right now: Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh still, because they've got the tiebreaker over Baltimore based on the best win percentage in conference games, and then the Houston Texans, even though they got beat, they're sitting at 9-6. Baltimore would be your 5 seed, which means Baltimore would go to Buffalo to play the Bills right now, the way things shake out. And Kansas City getting a win over the weekend again, now sitting at 14-1 on the season. One more win completely solidifies them as the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. The Chargers, they have the tiebreaker over Denver based on the head-to-head and the win percentage. So Denver right now sits at the 7 seed. You got the Chargers sitting at the 60. Denver's at 7. And then on the outside looking in right now, still trying to hang on to some modicum of hope, the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals all won over the weekend. They all won over the weekend. The Jets, they take yet another loss. They fall to 4-11. The Cleveland Browns lose to Cincinnati. They go to 3-12. You got Jaguars sitting at 3-12, and the rest of the AFC is basically 3-12. In the meantime, the Lions doing the old stumble fumble rooski down there on. By the way, thank you and you're welcome. In case you didn't know, the fumble stumble that the Lions pulled yesterday down at Soldier Field in that craptastic dump by the lake. They saw that in the Packers game. Their offensive coordinator saw that when it was actually a missed play. Jordan Love kind of stumbles, drops the ball. It wasn't a clean handoff a couple of years ago. Last year, he turns around and fires a strike to Tucker Kraft, who's wide open because everybody yelled, ball, 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 and they all started gushing towards the line of scrimmage, left Tucker Kraft wide open down the field. Jordan Love heaves one down there. Tucker Kraft runs under it, catches it, takes it into the end zone, touchdown. That's where he got the idea for the stumble fumble, which took place yesterday down at Soldier Field. The Lions walk away with a victory. They knocked off the Bears. Philadelphia gets beat. They got beat. They're now sitting at 12-3. Saquon Barkley still on pace to break 2,000 yards for the season, but they got beat by Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, who now go to 10-5 on the season. The Rams, we're going to talk about this. What team right now do you not want to face in the postseason? Both AFC and NFC. What teams do you not want to face? I think the Rams will be one of them, who are starting to play some really good football. Atlanta gets a win with Michael Penix Jr. yesterday. They now go back on top after Tampa Bay lost in just heartbreaking fashion last night to the Cowboys, as they thought they had a fumble, then a run, and then another fumble, and they couldn't believe that it got stripped away before the tackle was made. And Baker Mayfield's left standing there going, what the hell just happened? And sure enough, up in smoke. Tampa Bay now sitting on the outside looking in as the 8th seed because Washington sits as the 7th seed. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers sitting at 10-4 looking for their 11th win of the season, getting ready to take on the Saints coming up tonight. Minnesota continues to win. You got to take them serious. You just have to. What team do you not want to face in the postseason? There was a lot of people today. I was watching ESPN, and I could tolerate it because it didn't have Kmart on there, and it didn't have Mike Greenberg on there. So I was able to watch it and kind of listen to it and not get aggravated. So it was fantastic, but they basically said there's a couple of teams you don't want to face. The Green Bay Packers are one of them. The Minnesota Vikings are another. Sam Darnold again yesterday, 22 of 35, 246 yards. He was sacked 3 times, pressured 6 more, but threw 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a quarterback rating of 112.3. Geno Smith threw for 314 yards, 31 out of 43. Sacked a couple times, but 2, not 1, but 2 costly interceptions yesterday. And when you turn the ball over like that, you're not going to win a whole lot of football games. 27-24 with just a couple of minutes remaining. I think it was like 3 minutes when and I thought to myself in paying attention to that game, because you couldn't see it. It wasn't on local television. And I had it over on my iPad. But I was watching part of that game, and at the end of that, with 3:51 left to go in the game, I'm like, that's too much time. You get one to Justin Jefferson, it's over. And sure enough, they did. A 39-yard touchdown pass from Sam Darnold. That puts him up 26-24 PAT, gives him 27, and that's the way the game ultimately ended up. But, I thought for sure Seattle was going to get a win in that game yesterday, and just never transpired. But I thought when they gave the ball back with just over 3.5 minutes to go, wasn't going to happen. So what team right now do you not want to see in the postseason? And there's a couple of teams that are out there that if I'm a team of any ilk at all right now, I don't want to see in the postseason. I think there's only a couple of teams that have the capability to go into Kansas City and knock off the Chiefs. I think one of them's Buffalo. I think the other one is Baltimore. The Pittsburgh Steelers have proven without Pickens, they don't have any downfield threat. They don't have any big playmakers. And they were just outmatched. They just did not have it. And Russell Wilson can only do so much. And, obviously the turnovers and such hurt the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. The Houston Texans, they are not the Houston Texans from last season. They're just not. But Baltimore 10-5, they could go into Kansas City and beat Kansas City if Lamar plays to his capability. But the fact that yesterday the other day, they had a legitimate balanced offense. A legitimate balanced offense, I thought was solid. And I thought what they did in running the football against the Steelers, a lot of misdirection, a lot of motion. It's like they took a page out of the playbook of Matt LaFleur and Shanahan and O'Connell and McVay and all those guys. They actually put guys in motion. They were able to break Derrick Henry free. They were able to pound it, and that's exactly what they needed to do. And we knew that T.J. Watt had a banged-up ankle anyway, so they ran away from him the majority of the time. 34-17, they got to win. I think them and Buffalo are the two teams capable of going into Arrowhead and knocking off the Chiefs. And, how about Patrick Mahomes? He's got a slight high ankle sprain and still played extremely well. Probably one of their more solid wins of the season, as a matter of fact. The Kansas City Chiefs. I thought Mahomes played spectacular football. 28-41. He wasn't on target, but then again, they had a few drops, and then there was just times he just threw the ball away. Sacked only one time. They kept him upright. They helped. They had the tight end chipping when they had to kind of mix and match their offensive line. It gave them a little more confidence, a little more protection. They may have found something as well. They ran the ball for 124 yards, 55 from Hunt, 33 from Mahomes. Pacheco ran the ball 9 times for almost 30 yards. So I think Xavier Worthy had a carry or two yesterday as well. Or the other day as well, I should say. But nevertheless, Patrick Mahomes, I thought, played a pretty solid game. C.J. Stroud, not bad, but he had the 2 picks. Two interceptions. So tough one on the day when you turn the ball over. Again, the team that turns the ball over the most usually does not win the ball game. But, man, what a great weekend of football. And it's going to be culminated tonight in the Christmas Eve game. Lambeau Field, Saints coming to town. It is a 7:15 kickoff at Lambeau, by the way. And don't forget the Green and Gold postgame show emanating live from Burkle's one block over. Yes, we're going to be there up until the bewitching hour of midnight. So come on by and say hi, but it should be a good one coming up tonight. just outside of Lambeau Field at Burkle's, one block over, right behind Stadium View, if you're going to be out and about and you want to come by and say hi. All right, phone lines are open. Thomas, you're going to be first out of the chute when we come back. Don't go anywhere on this Christmas Eve edition of the Bill Michaels Show. Stay tuned. We got more coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. This morning had a great, I don't want to say experience, but our friends at the Water Doctors. I had one of my, you get a filter with your system, and it basically bakes and destroys bacteria. And it lasts, it's got a little counter on it. It counts down the days, 365 days. It lasts basically a year. And my counter went off over the weekend. So I called John Alley. He said, yeah, we'll get somebody out there as soon as we can. No problem. The first thing this morning came out, they replaced it. And they said, hey, your reverse osmosis probably needs filters. I said, go ahead and do that. Here, whatever it costs. Go ahead and change it. And within, 15 minutes, my filters were changed. The softener salt tank was full. Water's flowing. Everything's great. I love the Water Doctors, man. The Connecticut water softening system, not only the best that's out there, but the service that goes along with it, the Water Doctors, H2, the letter O, doctors.com. And, oh, by the way, they do a lot for our veterans, our military members, and our first responders and their families as well. Big part of giving back to the community. That's why I love working with these companies. Water Doctors, 262-549-7733, anywhere in the state of Wisconsin. 262-549-7733. Again, 262-549-7733. That's the Water Doctors. And right there at in Waukesha, but they handle stuff from all over the state of Wisconsin. And if they don't handle your area, then they'll get you in touch with a Connecticut dealer that does. So there you go. Jason says, what happens if Minnesota and the Lions last game of the season are tied and the Vikings win and they have home field advantage? Hopefully the Packers can beat them and spoil that. Right now, Jason, here's my thought. And Jason, you're doing what I didn't want us to do, because we're starting to think about the Vikings. I don't want the Packers to think about the Vikings at all. I was kind of hoping that the Vikings would be thinking about the Packers and end up getting beat in Seattle. Now, the problem was that Seattle turned the ball over a couple of times, and the Vikings were able to take advantage of it. But I was really kind of hoping that the Vikings would drop that game. The Packers would then come in and end up knocking them off, and then there could be some jockeying, so to speak, for the position for the postseason. However, the way it stands right now, you would have Washington having to go to Philadelphia. Now, Washington and Philadelphia have split the season series between them, so each winning their home game. So that would be an interesting one. The Packers then go and take on the Rams. I would love to see the Packers knock Minnesota off, and Minnesota gets beat by the Lions. The Packers then end up getting the 5th seed, and they would have to go to either Atlanta, who has now switched quarterbacks in midstream, or if Tampa Bay would come back, and Tampa Bay would end up taking over that top spot. I'd rather see that. And again, I'm right now, it doesn't matter. As long as you're in the postseason, you're in the postseason. But I would love to see them have to go to Atlanta rather than have to go out to LA, to be honest. There's a couple of teams right now in the NFL that I don't think you want to face. I think the Rams are one of them. I think they're a solid football team. I think Minnesota is as good as anybody. I hate to say that. The Packers, very quick. Nobody's really talking about the Packers. Because you're talking about the bursting onto the scene of Sam Darnold, the bursting onto the scene of Jaden Daniels right now, the fact that, the Rams are now getting healthy and, they're LA, so people talk about the Rams. But it's very quiet. They're not really mentioning the Packers too much, although today they were listing their top teams that nobody wants to play in the postseason, and the number one team that they were voting on was the Green Bay Packers. So they are getting that kind of exposure, but all we see is the Dallas Cowboys and what they've done and whether or not to keep Mike McCarthy, the Philadelphia Eagles and all the problems there, and Jalen Hurts going down with a concussion, New York getting beat again, and Aaron Rodgers doing okay, but, they haven't been able to will themselves to victories down the stretch. And, what are they going to do? And what's next season going to hold? I mean, those are the headlines right now. That and the fact that Kansas City continues to win, and Buffalo and Josh Allen's going to win the MVP, and the coaching that's going on with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, and, can Baltimore and Lamar Jackson finally get past, Patrick Mahomes? So all those storylines are flowing, but nobody's really talking about Green Bay. It's just like Green Bay is just expected to be there, expected to go about their business. And then today they were saying, that one team right now that you don't want to face, it's starting to get a little bit hot. And again, knock on wood, they keep it up tonight, but that's the Green Bay Packers. So excited for all of that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Thomas, listening to us in La Crosse. Thomas, what's going on, man? How you doing? Thomas.
Merry Christmas
Yeah.
Eve. Can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead.
Awesome. Merry Christmas Eve to you, Sir Austin, many the ones and twos, Grant, and everybody at the station. I want to touch on what you were mentioning there. Was not part of my game plan, but you're absolutely right. Green Bay is very much flying under the radar this season, and you're absolutely right, Bill. Nobody's really giving Green Bay credit. Like, everybody's all like, look what the Baltimore Ravens and, Josh Allen having a great year, and look at, like, Sam Darnold and everything. But no one's really giving much love to the Packers, and I think we should. Looking at tonight's game, Bill, the line right now is at 14.5, according to ESPN and Bet. I mean, obviously you might see it fluctuate otherwise. But I'm going to be so real with you, Bill. I can see this being a much closer game. I would take the under. I'm not a betting person, but I could see this being like a close, 7 to 10 point margin of victory. The Packers indeed do win, which I think we will. I think some keys to the game, we win if we can have a really good pass rush, and better yet, a better pass rush than the Saints. And, I've been telling all my friends this before I headed out on winter break, which we are now at UWL, that don't rule out these pesky Saints. They're going to fight tooth and nail to keep us from getting and securing that playoff spot. So, I think this is a really big and important game. It's a win and end game. The over-under right now is at 43.5, according to ESPN Bet. I could very much see it being a very high-scoring game potentially, but in the end, it's one that I think the Packers will win. Very excited about the game, Bill. That's really all I got for you today, Bill. Hey, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I moved on in 1 week from today on Saturday. We'll be heading out on a week-long Caribbean cruise. So excellent. I'll be sure to share some of that wonderful sun and all that sunshine with you and Grant and everybody in the cheap sheets virtually when I get back. So Merry Christmas. Awesome. Happy New Year, Bill. Continue to keep up the great work. I think good things are coming for you this upcoming New Year. So appreciate you taking the call and much love.
Appreciate it, pal. Thanks. Merry Christmas to you guys, too. No doubt. Enjoy that cruise, man. I love Caribbean cruises. I took them for years and years and years. Love those things. Man, I don't know what island you're going to, but you get to St. Thomas. You got to go shopping. St. Thomas is the place to go shopping. And then you go over to, I think it's Megan's Bay. Megan's Bay is beautiful. You get to Tortola or St. Martin, St. Lucius, St. Kitts, all in those areas. Oh, just fantastic. I'm getting jealous. Going back to the Saints game tonight, if the Saints get off to a fast start, it'll be a close game. Otherwise, you've got a team from the South. It's supposed to be snowing. I guess the weather isn't going to be great during the game. So some possible snow, rain, mix, blech, all that kind of stuff. If you get a team from the South who plays in a dome, out in the elements, and they get down early, good night, sweet prince, shut out the lights, party's over. They'll let the ass kicking begin, because I think the Packers will then dominate, because then they'll feel it. They'll be like, okay, we're off to a fast start. We can put this team away. What I am looking for, and I think I'm gonna have everybody say it collectively. What I want to see tonight, if they get off to that start, is 4 full quarters. That's what we want to see. 4 full quarters of football. You put that together, man, then you're hitting the ground running going into Minneapolis next week at US Bank Stadium. Speaking of next week, we got one more winner to get this week. So coming up this Thursday, we're going to make the announcement. But follow us on all of our platforms. And when you do, you're automatically registered. We've already given you our 3 names. We've got one more name to give. And you and a guest get to join us down at Potawatomi Sportsbook, which is open. It's new. It's packed. It's the place to be. They've got a television screen in there as big as the one at Jerry World. I'm not kidding. It's that big. It's massive. We're going to go down there next Sunday for the watch party, for the Green and Gold watch party, as the Packers head over to US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis and take on the Minnesota Vikings. And then afterwards, the Green and Gold postgame show live from Potawatomi Sportsbook and the Hotel Casino. We're looking forward to it. Gaming, sportsbook, 13 restaurants. They've got the bars. They've got the music. They've got all kinds of good stuff. And the hotel, by the way, if you just want to stay. But nevertheless, we're going to give you 2 seats plus a couple of $50 gift cards for food and beverage. Oh, we're basically paying you to come be our friend. That doesn't get any better than that. That's our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, you're going to hear from Matt Lafleur right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for a win? Well, it's your year. At Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you can win over $2,000 in free play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games and you might take the stage in the It's Your Year game show. 25 winners each Thursday. There's $300,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs this January. Yeah, we think it's your year. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
All throughout the great state of Wisconsin, we've got Pella showrooms and Pella windows and doors, making your house nice and toasty for the holidays. If you didn't get into the deals already, that's okay because they haven't ended. And if say, hey, you're going into the new year, maybe you're thinking about selling your home and you want to add a bunch of value, and the money you're going to put in is the money you're going to get out plus some. Trust me, when I had the windows and doors done at my house, and then I had the house reappraised just because it had new windows and doors, oh my goodness, did the value jump. Whew. You get it back. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. If you're thinking about anything, whether it's just the economical factor, curb appeal, functionality to make sure that they lock up and you're safe and secure when you put your head on your pillow at night, whatever it may be, whatever reason you're thinking about getting new windows and doors, go to Pella. They've got a line for everybody. They've got vinyl, they've got Impervia, they've got the wood, all the different custom windows that they do, the installation that they guarantee. Everything's good from Pella. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Matt Lafleur talking to the media. Take a listen.
How did Jared look today?
He practiced. We'll take a look at the tape and then make a decision.
You think there's a real shot that he plays this week?
Potentially. We'll take a look at the tape, talk as a staff, and then make a decision.
After a good Thursday practice, on Friday, you go through red zone, and is it one last time to just do things that you want to take a look at, or are you always making adjustments and all along?
I think you're always making adjustments, but today is emphasis by you say Friday. I'm assuming you meant today's practice. It's mostly the emphasis is the red area. So, we'll take a look at the tape. If there's things that we don't like, we'll make that necessary adjustment. There's always some tweaks in there, but for the most part, this time of the year, I would say the majority of the times, there's not a whole lot of stuff that they've not done before in the past.
You made a decision with Luke?
We'll talk about that as a staff as well, and I'm sure you guys will find out on Monday night.
We were told to ask you what the G of the week is, since we were briefed on it yesterday.
Who asked? Is that a Waller's question?
No. Two of your coordinators mentioned it yesterday, but yeah. Is that something that you guys have been doing for a while? Is it just
for a years now?
Okay. What do you need to do to get that every week?
It just depends. I think it varies on the situation. Sometimes it's for a guy that just puts the team first, or maybe they're battling through something. Maybe they got called upon on short notice, maybe not getting many reps during the week. Somebody goes down, they step in, and they're on top of their stuff. So there's various circumstances that kind of get guys nominated for G of the week.
So what was it for Carrington other than just making the plays?
I think it's just being consistent with his work habits, his practice habits, going out there and competing every day. And then you see that come to fruition in the game. And that's something we always talk about, that practice preparation equals game reality. And he's been so consistent in practice that it's not a surprise that he was able to make plays in the game.
Do you think there's some value in being so young in these big playoff type moments and maybe they don't know any better these last 2 years? And how do you think Goody's done to kind of fill in the roster with guys who can live up to the challenge, even though they may not have that experience?
Yeah, I think Goody's done an outstanding job. I don't think he probably doesn't get enough credit for just the job that he's done building our roster and just getting guys in here that love the game of football, because the tape is the tape, but it's you want to find out through the scouting process. And I think our scouts do an outstanding job of going in there and finding what the person's all about. And you really want to get guys in here that love to compete, that love the process, that love the game of football, because ultimately when you get the right people, you got the best chance for them to realize their potential. Potential is always a scary word, and talent is talent, but will guys put in the work and become the best version of them? And that's really all you can ask of anybody, is just to be your best each and every day. And I think guys that embrace that and come in with the right mindset, the right work ethic, will ultimately be the best version of themselves.
going back to Jair for a second, he's obviously played a lot of football. He's obviously missed a lot of time. Like how, whether it's this week or 2 weeks from now or whatever it is, like how long do you think it would take for him to get back to playing the way he wants to play? Has he played so much that he can kind of, like riding a bike, as they say?
Well, I think it all comes back down to the preparation. I don't think you just magically return to form without competing and putting in the work and practice. But I do believe that if you do it in practice, then it's going to transfer to the game.
Is that one reason why you kept him on the roster rather than putting him on IR? That way, at least he could keep practicing these last few weeks.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you think of the season that Kingsley's put together for you? And, especially, during the stretch here since after the Preston trade kind of stepping up in the second half?
Yeah, I think, he's done a lot of nice things. I think the whole group, is up their play. I think we're playing the best we've played up front, and we got to continue to push and demand even better. But I think he's done a really nice job with more opportunity and just doing his 111th and playing to the standard that we have for that group.
Since Darren Rizzi took over, I think Cam Jordan's back to getting more snaps and therefore more production, like more quarterback pressures. Do you see little things like that have happened in the last 4 or 5 weeks where the Saints have actually improved on defense?
Yeah, the Saints have done an outstanding job. Teams are having a hard time moving the ball and having a hard time scoring points. And a lot of these games have been close. I mean, they've lost 4 games by 3 points or less. So you're talking about the difference. I mean, that's a very minimal difference. And they could easily be sitting at 9-5 right now. So I think our guys realize what type of team is coming in here and what's at stake. So I would expect us to play our best ball.
There you go. That's Matt Lafleur talking to the media yesterday and waiting to make some decisions today. We'll find out about 90 minutes before game time. The inactives, you're kind of hoping that if Jair is able to go, he can. It would not shock me if some of the guys that were still somewhat of a question mark didn't play in this game. It wouldn't shock me. Not necessarily because you don't need them. It's because, you're going to have, we'll say, slippery conditions, or at least seemingly cold weather game. You want everybody to make sure that they're, you might want to bring them back against the Minnesota Vikings next week. But the other side of the coin is, well, you get them back in this one and you get them some work, even though you don't have their load being really heavy. You get them some work, you get them used to it. That way you kind of ramp them up for the game next week. But we'll find out what happens today about 90 minutes before kickoff, the inactives and who will and will not be playing. So it's good to know that they're still, considering Luke Musgrave for a comeback. Jair is really, really close. Some of the guys that you're kind of been waiting to see them come off that injury report, that maybe the Packers get those guys back relatively soon. Hey, a couple of emails I want to get to. This one's from Nick. Said they play the Saints, who do not have their quarterback, the number one wide receiver, or one of their better running backs as well. They played the Niners, who had to use a quarterback who played very little in 3 years. They played the Rams without their 2 starting wide receivers. The Vikings offense will probably all come down with the flu next Saturday. So that's from Nick. I don't know, Nick, if you're saying that sarcastically, like the Packers are lucky or not. I don't know. That's okay. Hey, if you're going to take luck, be the Kansas City Chiefs. You've got to look, to win games, you got to be good. You got to be healthy. You got to be hot at the right time to win a championship, and you got to be lucky. You got to have it all, be on your side. You take a team like, say, the Detroit Lions. They're really good. But health-wise is a matter of health and luck. And some of the injuries that they have been just bad luck. Just bad luck injuries, man. When you look at this, they have had guys. It's not like you're getting guys with, a little bit of a hammy and they're going to come back in a few. This is guys that are breaking their jaw, snapping their legs, busting their ankles, busting out ACLs. I mean, these guys are all like just dropping like dead, man. Like, some of these things are career changing. It's not just a hamstring. So yeah, it's a little bit about luck. No doubt, but also you got to be healthy at the right time. Our buddy Aaron Wright. By the way, good to see Aaron. We were at Casey Key Pub. They had their kind of soft opening this past weekend, and we were out there on Friday night, and Aaron said I might stop by, and sure enough, Aaron, I saw Aaron at the bar on Friday night, so good stuff from Aaron. I don't have any concerns about the Packers beating the Saints tonight. I think the 14 is a little steep in the NFL, but I understand it with injuries that New Orleans has. Normally, I would worry about the Packers potentially playing down to their opponent, but with the big names who are out for the Saints, I think the Packers would actively have to try to play down to them in order to lose. No Carr, no Kamara, no Olave, even Joe Barry could shut down this offense. Oh, man. That's going a little bit far. Famous last words. He said, I'm feeling good. 27-13. Packers getting a win. That's from our guy, Aaron, listening to the program as well. 877-867-1670. Our buddy Michael says, I agree regarding Aaron Rodgers and company. He said it just seems a little bit like practice for the last couple of weeks, but yelled hell out of games. Wonder if anything to do with the contract incentives right now. I'd release him after this season, talking about Jair. As far as Jair goes, unless he comes back and really plays well, you might not even have him next season. When you talk to Michael, he said, I also agree. Wonder if it has anything to do with contract incentives. I release him after this season, even if he comes in and plays in the playoff run extremely well. He's just not reliable. As far as tonight's game go, they should run the ball 30-plus times. Jacobs getting 80% of them. The defense better have a good game. Backup quarterback, running back. This is a game that should be over early. Safe travels up and back. Merry Christmas. That's our guy, Michael. Michael, you're the man. Appreciate it. And our buddy Steve from Richfield says, first of all, Merry Christmas to everybody listening to the program. Have a couple of grandsons, age 3 and 4, that are really amped up for Christmas. Can't wait to watch them enjoy the festivities before they go back to normal fighting and being naughty. An old friend of mine said it best. There's nothing better than enjoying Christmas through the eyes of a child, which is true, unless, of course, you still have the eyes of a child and the wonderment that is. You should never lose that. The Packers are going to be in for more of a struggle tonight than most people think. Yes, I think the Packers are going to win the game against the Saints, but they're going to keep it close, at least for a half. Part of me is concerned that they're looking at the Saints and forward to the Vikings, but then I think Matt Lafleur won't let that happen. Look for the Packers to pound the rock, grind it out, 34-17 win. As far as the playoffs is concerned, I would play anyone and everyone. It's the playoffs, and teams really have to face the Packers. Those are the ones that they should be fearing. Just as the Cowboys last year. Safe travels to Green Bay. Merry Christmas. That's our buddy Steve in Richfield. Steve, you the man. Appreciate it. All right, let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. Thanks to everybody watching over on the cheap seats and the live stream. We certainly appreciate you being here. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Markquart RV. Markquart RV, 7 locations in the state of Wisconsin, and they have got something for everybody. Just after the first of the year is when they start breaking it out, right? The 2025s are on the showroom floors. They're going to start getting ready for the RV shows. They're going to be taking place, getting you amped up for what's to come in summer next year. Oh, there's nothing better. Whether you want to buy your first one, maybe you don't even want a brand new one. Maybe you want something that's used, okay? Maybe for all the little nicks and scratches and dents and dings and things that need to be fixed, they've all been fixed, right? So you get a used one, and you start out that way. They've got used ones on the line. You can go to their website, markquartrv.com, and find the one that would best suit you and your family or your needs or just your personal desires. Or maybe you just, your time to upgrade, and you want to say, you know what, I'm going to go with a Tiffin motorhome. Oh, those things are beautiful. Stunning. Winnebago, Gulfstream, Jayco, Tow Behind, Forest River, Alliance, they've got it all. They've got something for everybody. Go to Markquart, Markquart, markquartrv.com. That is markquartrv.com. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. Don't forget, coming up here, we're about 25 minutes away. Mike Clemens going to be joining us as well. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Merry Christmas to all of you from all of us.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, if you're looking for a place to go watch the game tonight, DJ's Goalpost on Appleton Avenue in Menominee Falls. DJ's Goalpost. They're going to be jamming tonight. Oh, yeah. Head out, go over there and get yourself some of that big pizza. They got a great staff. It's like going into a museum, to be perfectly honest with you, when you get there, whether the memorabilia or the bobbleheads or all the jerseys and just everything that's signed, and plus TVs everywhere. If you're in the Menominee Falls area, Appleton Avenue, that's a place to be. DJ's Goalpost running specials all night long. Stop in and tell Don and the entire staff that we said hi. Don's a good dude. Good dude, man. DJ's Goalpost right there on Appleton Avenue in Menominee Falls. Coming up here in about 20, 25 minutes, going to be talking with our guy Mike Clemens live up in Green Bay and getting a lowdown as the Packers get ready for this contest coming up today. This one's from Jan. Jan says, so what do you think the keys are to tonight's game, and how much do you think the Packers are looking forward towards going to U.S. Bank Stadium and taking on the Vikings? I hope, first of all, the keys to the game, I think everybody already stated. I think you're going to run the ball tonight. They don't have a lot of their weapons, although sometimes it's hard to kind of scheme for a team that you haven't seen. And when you don't see the quarterback, you don't see the wide receivers, you don't see the running backs often enough because their starters are all down, sometimes they fool you a little bit. You know, that thing, so to speak. So, I mean, it could surprise. I mean, the Packers should win the game, but I think you win it. You run the ball. You let Jordan Love do his thing. I just want to see everything flow. You know, I just want to see 4 full quarters of just flow. You know, I'm not saying you have to score on every drive or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I want to see good flow. I want to see the defense play strong, be able to get off the field on third down, especially against a team that's, you know, completely depleted. Get up on them early. Let the weather start to sink in for them, take effect, and you just go and pound on them. You know, it sucks for everybody. I mean, even we live in it, and it sucks, right? We all have our own issues in the cold. We all look at each other and go, why are we this stupid? You know, some people love it. They thrive on it. But for the most part, a lot of people are like, this sucks. You know, you love it during Christmas. You love the snow. If you're a snowmobiler, if you're a skier, you love it. You enjoy it. You go out. And then after that, okay, we're like all ready for 75, sunny beaches, all that kind of stuff. So, but we live in it. They don't. They're a dome team coming from the South. You get up on them early, you should be able to pound them. You should be able to pound them. You should be able to put them into submission after that fact. As far as looking ahead, God, I hope not. I hope not. I mean, all week long last week, I thought it was a very focused week out of Matt Lafleur. Just in listening to Matt Lafleur, you know, I thought there was no mention, distraction thereof of the division, of wins and losses, of playoffs, of nothing. It was all New Orleans all the time. And I never, for a moment, in listening to anything that was stated, even questions that were asked in the pressers, never got the sense they were looking ahead or even thinking about Minneapolis to head there. Not at all. Maybe the fans are, and maybe yesterday watching the games, you think about it a little bit. But I think today is a complete, you know, look, you're on full display. You're the standalone game today, man. The standalone game. No other NFL game being played. You are it. And all your peers are watching before Christmas. They're all, if they've all been given a break, they've all been given a little time off, or they're back in the facility today, and then they're off tomorrow. You know, then they all start watching, you know, game film and stuff on Wednesday, because on Christmas Day, it's like celebrate with your family and got to go to work, right? So the work schedule will be a little bit weird. but you're the standalone man. You don't want to embarrass yourself in front of your peers. You don't want to have a bad game. You don't want to be caught looking forward to another game down the road. You don't want to do that. You're in the hunt for something right now, and there's nothing that's been solidified. I mean, you'll be in the postseason, but right now you're playing for seeding, you're playing for pride, you're playing to be able to hit on all cylinders heading to the end of the season. So no, you're not looking ahead in this one at all. I can't imagine that. You wouldn't want to do that. 877-867-1670. Ben from Bruce says, Merry Christmas, Bill, to everybody. Go Pack Go. Love the show. That is our buddy Ben from Bruce over on the text line. The text line also, Brad and Sturgeon Bay. Good morning, Bill. Before last night, I didn't want to see the Buccaneers in the postseason. Shocked to see them lose to Dallas, but after last night, I'll say either the Rams or the Vikings both look really tough, and I really don't want to hear that dumb Vikings horn this postseason. Safe travels to Green Bay. That's our buddy Brad in Sturgeon Bay. The horn is awful. I don't want to see it or hear it, but we're going to hear it next week. It'll be in full force. Let's just hope the Pack goes in and quiets it. Northside Andy, definitely don't want to see Tampa Bay. We know we can beat the Lions and beat the Vikings. Kyle from the North Side said Ryan Day should be fired, not for his coaching, but for that awful beard. That is all. Happy holidays. You got to look him up. You got to go back, Google Earl Scheib. Earl Scheib had a painting company that was, I think it was a national franchise. And basically, whatever, they'll paint whatever for like $49.95. But basically, you got to have everything taped off when you get there. So you get there, you have everything taped off. They just paint it, you roll it out, you untape it yourself, and down the road you go. You do all the body work, $49.95, here you go. That's what it looks like happened to Ryan Day's beard. That's it. I completely agree with you. They painted off his face, sprayed it, said, next, and then off he went. He's just, I don't know. Just tries to act like such a hard ass, and he's picks the wrong time to do it. But they got to win. The team responded, and a lot of the guys really, really like him. Couldn't stand Kirk Herbstreit, though, slobbering all over him, that's for sure. All right, we got another hour yet to go. Don't go anywhere. We're about 20, 25 minutes away. Mike Clemens going to be joining us live at Green Bay. God, I can't wait. Looking forward to tonight. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Warner Electric Supply. Go to Warner, WERNER, WarnerElectric.com. That is WarnerElectric.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers are tonight for Monday Night Football, and we might have some snow in the forecast as they're welcoming the New Orleans Saints to Lambeau Field. Packers head coach Matt Lafleur did talk about practicing in the snow late last week.
That is one of the advantages here. We're going to play a game Monday night. Last I told, it could be like this. So why not get game-like conditions in practice and kind of get a feel for how you have to move on that grass, because there's a little bit more snow than I anticipated, but it was all good.
The Saints will be putting out rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler to take on the Packers. He's thrown for 706 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and has been sacked 14 times. Kickoff tonight is at 7:15. Turning to Wisconsin football, their quarterback room will have a new look next season as Mabry Matoyer, who was the last scholarship player left at the position, is hitting the transfer portal. The Badgers now have 3 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster: Billy Edwards Jr., who started this season at Maryland, Danny O'Neal, who started at San Diego State, and Carter Smith, who is a 4-star prospect from Florida.
ABC of Wisconsin is the largest apprenticeship program in the state, with more than 2,000 active apprentices in 12 different skilled trades. In the ABC apprenticeship program, you earn while you learn on the job, get paid to go to class, and graduate with a job in your craft, but without the huge college debt. Explore 12 different construction trades in one spot at buildyourcareerwi.org, or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin basketball has moved to 10-3 on the year. That's after a 76-53 victory over the Detroit Mercy yesterday at the Kohl Center. Nolan Winter had a double-double, 18 points, 11 rebounds, while Stephen Crowell pitched in 15, and John Tonje added 9 to help the Badgers collect the win. And finally, the Bucks are back in action tonight. They go to Chicago to face the Bulls for a 7 o'clock tip. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome in, one and all. Bill Michaels Show. The Green and Gold Monday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. Game day edition. Packers getting ready to take on the Saints coming up tonight, Lambeau Field. And we're going to be live at Burkle's, one block over after the fact. We're going to be just behind Stadium View Pub up in Green Bay if you want to come by for the Green and Gold postgame show. And for many of you all throughout the great network that is the stations throughout the state of Wisconsin, if you don't get it in your market, please find us, whether it's the app on the mighty WOZN, The Zone out of Madison, our flagship station out of Madison, WOZN, The Zone Madison. You can download the app. Or you can watch us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels, Michaels, Bill Michaels Show. 3 words, put them all together, and you can find us there. Click live, and then you can click subscribe. We appreciate that. And it just pops up. When we go in there, it'll pop up and tell you that we're here. So you can watch us, you can swipe us, whatever you want to do, but it doesn't cost you a damn thing. That's the best part about it. It doesn't cost you anything. Good stuff. So we're not going to charge you for it. Okay. Our buddy Mike Clemens is going to be joining us coming up here in about 15 minutes. So don't go anywhere. Mike live in Green Bay, and he'll be brought to you by the Bay Motel Family Restaurant and the Bay Motel in Green Bay. That'll be coming up here just a little bit. We'll get the lowdown on what he's thinking and whether or not Jair is going to be back tonight and how close Luke Musgrave is to coming back and such. And so we'll get into all of that coming up here in just a little bit as well. We've got your thoughts, calls, emails, all that kind of good stuff. You want to call in, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can hit us up. Text us, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. You can also, again, find us over on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michael. There's a link there that pops up to the show as well. If you want to watch the show on X, when we go live, it pops up, so you can follow us there. You can hit us up over on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok under The Bill Michael Show, THE, The Bill Michael Show. On the Twitch app, the Kick app, on LinkedIn as well. You can find us. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, and then the website, thebillmichaels.com. You can find us again on the app or Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts after the fact, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. It's that simple. You can always keep up with us. We appreciate it. This one's from Mac Daddy. Mac Daddy said, I think it's going to be an easy win tonight for the Green Bay Packers, and it is going to be an early Christmas gift for all of us Packers fans. Going to be going to the game tonight with my son. He's making his first trip ever to Lambeau Field. We hope to see you after the show over at Burkle's, and he said we're going to try to park over in that direction so we can come and visit you after the fact. How late are they open? I would assume they're going to be open until at least 1. I mean, we don't get off the air until midnight. So 1 or 2 a.m. So yeah, we're gonna be there. Come on by and say hi. And that's great that your son's making. Now, how old's your son? Let me know, because they're making his first trip up. Is he a youngster? Is he like 10, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, something like that? Or is this say your son who's 18 to 21, 22, and this is going to be his first time ever heading to Lambeau Field? So good stuff. Good experience too. And right before Christmas. That's kind of cool. That's a neat one. Provided the weather isn't atrocious tonight, like let's say it doesn't get too warm and all of a sudden it just becomes a downpour of rain rather than kind of flurries and flakes, then it should be a pretty cool experience. But if it becomes just a downpour of rain, then at least you hope you see some kind of a really a good win, and maybe a game that's put away midway through the third quarter. That way you can say, yeah, you seen enough? Oh, okay, let's go. And then bail out and go dry out and watch the rest of the game over at Burkle's and join us for the Green and Gold postgame show. That might not be a bad way to go. Yeah. Sip says, oh my God, do the Bears suck? They're not good. They're not good. It was, you know what? Watching that game yesterday was, and I said the same thing about the New England Patriots and watching that game, that both of those teams have talent. They have young talent that they make mistakes. The attention to detail is not there via the coaching staff. They make a lot of mistakes. It's not a bad team because a lot of the things that they do are more mental than they are the physical. They don't have. I'll tell you this. I know if you got great players will always, the cream will always rise, right? But if you've got really good talent that is not coached well, it becomes very evident because the little things that are drilled into you, that are just drilled into you over and like Belichick used to do over and over and over and over again, not fumbling the football, being in the right place at the right time, doing everything crisp. You got to get it done right in practice. You know, all that stuff. Do it right there. That's when things become almost commonplace during the game. You know, the old adage is you win Wednesday through Friday. You don't win on Sunday. And if you don't do it right Wednesday through Friday, you're not going to do it right on Sunday. That was the one thing that I admired about Aaron Rodgers was he would get pissed in practices because guys didn't practice hard. Guys didn't practice to his level. Guys didn't practice to a level where you would be on game day. And that was the one thing that I really appreciated about him was he attacked everything as if it was game day, as if it was the ultimate challenge. So you can clearly see that in some of these teams. It's not that they have this lack of talent, because I think they're both talented football teams. Now, I don't think the New England Patriots have anywhere near the talent the Bears do, but the Bears they are so poorly coached, and along with the Patriots. It's just, man, it's glaring. It's just glaring for some of the mistakes they make. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. A couple more, by the way, off of the text line, if you want to find us there. This is from Eric in Green Bay. I see this being like a Thanksgiving game. The Saints aren't going to want to be out there by halftime. Eric, that's what I'm hoping for. Bill in Wanakee, do you think the Vikings made Darnold their full-time starter over McCarthy? Did you see that's a great question. Did you see our buddy Paul Charchian? He posted this earlier today. And I thought it was, and I wanted to shoot it back at him and ask him, but we'll talk to him this week. He said, assuming that he continues to play at this level, meaning Sam Darnold, Minnesota cannot let Sam Darnold leave for a market deal elsewhere. So he goes 7 reasons. One is Sam Darnold's 27. He's 27 years old. It's not like he's an old over-the-hill backup quarterback. I mean, he's finally found his groove in playing for the Vikings. He's 27. He's matured. Number 2, realistically, J.J. McCarthy has maybe a 25% chance of being as good or better. 3, the Vikings roster is ready to win now. 4, McCarthy is burning through one of his cheap contract years right now from the bench. And 5, if McCarthy is good, he'll need to be paid as well. So you're not going to pay him both. Number 6, Justin Jefferson right now in his prime. You don't want to waste 2 more years trying to get a young guy up to speed. And number 7, the Vikings should be able to get a first rounder for McCarthy or keep him as a great insurance policy for right now. But Paul is basically like, look, if I'm the Vikings, I don't get rid of Sam Darnold. In this system, under this coach, he's playing too well. You look at what he's been in the past, and then all of a sudden you look at a coach that is an offensive-minded teacher, offense 101 guy, and they're like, no, you can learn. You can be better. You can be a good quarterback if you just have the right system and the right people around you. And that's what they're saying about Sam Darnold. I don't know how much I'd agree with that, because we still remember Sam Darnold and seeing ghosts and all that kind of stuff in New York, and he just didn't look good. But this guy's slinging it, man, and he's throwing some darts. And Kevin O'Connell has figured out the best way to utilize him, and he has been good. And with that defense, they're a scary team. They're a pesky, scary team. I think the Packers can beat them, but they're a pesky, scary team. It wouldn't be easy by any stretch of the imagination. But I might agree that they keep Sam Darnold. And I underestimated Sam Darnold big time. And because I picked them to finish behind the Bears in the division this year. I picked the Lions number 1 until somebody beats the Lions. The Lions are number 1. I said the Packers are going to be number 2. I said the Vikings probably going to come in last with Sam Darnold in trying to teach J.J. McCarthy to be a quarterback. I didn't think their defense was going to be nearly this good. I underestimated them. It's been a terrific, terrific coaching gig this year out of Kevin O'Connell. Really solid. And Flores too, for that matter. But I underestimated them. I bought, like many of us, stupidly, we bought into the hype that is the Chicago Bears. Stupidly. So I if I'm a Vikings fan, I might consider keeping him. I don't know how much I'm going to pay him. I'm not paying him $50 million. I'll tell you that. Not for 1 year of being good, but say he makes $35 million, $30 million for a couple of years. I wouldn't scoff at that. That still gives you flexibility as opposed to other quarterbacks that are high dollar quarterbacks throughout the National Football League, including here in our own backyard, right? I wouldn't scoff at that. 877-867-1670. Find us. Would love to hear from you. This is from Thomas says Goff was a throwaway. And I agree. He was a cast-off. And they found him and they said, hey, come in, do a little bit of good, kind of help tutor our guy or just be a placeholder until our guy's ready. And man, he's been all of that and more. Brad in Sturgeon Bay, hey, Bill, wouldn't it be great if the NFL had a second playoff bracket where it was all of the teams with losing records and they had to play to see who got the highest draft seeding? It'd be fun to see the Bears, the Panthers, the Browns, and the Patriots all battle for the top draft pick. Did you see the Raiders? They were on pace to, I think if I'm not mistaken, the Raiders were on pace to be the number 1 seed. And then they won. They were on pace to be the top draft choice. And then they won. They could have ended up with, now they still could lose the next couple of games, but they won 19-14 over the Jaguars. So they go from the first overall pick, I think, to now number 6 in the NFL is where they're at. So the Giants get beat. The Giants are now the number 1 overall pick. The Giants sitting at 2-13 on the season. They got drilled. And how about Penix yesterday? Michael Penix Jr. getting the nod. I mean, he was a guy that sat the entire season waiting to see when his turn was going to come. They bench Kirk Cousins. He goes 18-20. I mean, nothing, spectacular to write home about. Okay. Had 1 pick, no touchdowns, didn't get sacked. He, 4 carries, 3 yards, scrambled around a little bit. Didn't get sacked or didn't throw a touchdown, but had the 1 pick. 202 yards, 18-27. They said, he has arrived. I don't think that's a he has arrived moment, but at least he didn't have anything stupid, so to speak. And yes, they had another pick yesterday because Kirk Cousins throws picks. So did Michael Penix. But it wasn't a bad day at the office. And he spread it around, I think, 7 different receivers yesterday. Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, just under 100 yards for them when last I looked. And Allgeier had a couple 20-something yards. So they were over 120-something yards rushing yesterday. The Atlanta Falcons were. And Atlanta, I don't know what kind of a team they're going to. I'd rather face Atlanta, to be perfectly honest with you. I'd rather face Atlanta in the postseason than I would, say, Tampa Bay or the Rams. Let's go to Bob listening to us in Tomahawk. Bob, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey there, Bill. I wanted to talk here about the Minnesota Vikings defense.
Sure.
One player stands out. You know who that is, don't you?
Oh, they've got quite a few good players over on that defense. Which one?
Andrew Van Ginkel. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Pro Bowl season. Packers probably could have had him last year. Of course, they didn't take him, didn't even think about it. He is a stud.
Yeah, he's played extremely well for them. I mean, the guys up front, Harrison Phillips has been really solid. He hung up. Jerry Tillery's been solid for them. Now, they have had some injuries. Harrison Smith has been banged up. In the secondary, Fabian Moreau, who they picked up from Denver, he's been banged up for them, kind of the backup over a corner. But Stephon Gilmore's been good for them, who they picked up from Dallas, don't forget. So they've got solid players over there defensively, and the way they utilize them with Brian Flores and the way he moves them around and stunts them around, they've been really, really good. Give them all the credit in the world. But Van Ginkel, yeah, I think he was more mad at the fact that the Packers didn't pick up Van Ginkel. I think that's what he wanted to make the statement of. There you go. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Clemens, going to be joining us up in Green Bay. Hey, make it a Cousin Subs kind of day. Get yourself that big pepperoni melt, extra mayo, extra cheese. Get this chocolate shake to go alongside. Hunker down for tonight's contest. If you're sitting at home, you're good to go. That's the way to go. That's our friends at Cousin Subs. And you still, if you're running around right now and you're thinking, man, last minute gift idea, everybody loves Cousins. Just run in, get yourself a gift card. That way you can put it in the stocking. You can do what I did. I got some gift cards, wrapped them up in huge boxes like nesting dolls, and that's packaged under the tree. So we did all the wrapping and such over the weekend, and a few Cousin gift cards are going out. Yeah, boy. Cousins, believe in better. Coming up next, our buddy Mike Clemens next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Since Darren Rizzi took over, I think Cam Jordan's back to getting more snaps and therefore more production, more quarterback pressures. Do you see little things like that that have happened?
Yeah, the Saints have done an outstanding job. Teams are having a hard time moving the ball and having a hard time scoring points. And a lot of these games have been close. I mean, they've lost 4 games by 3 points or less. So you're talking about, I mean, that's a very minimal difference. And they could easily be sitting at 9-5 right now. So this is the National Football League. You better get yourself ready to go. Otherwise, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Welcome back. Mike Clemens questioning head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt Lafleur. This portion of the program brought to you by Bay Motel Family Restaurant. They have right there in only a mile from Lambeau Field, right there in Green Bay. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. Call them 920-494-3441 for packages that might be available still when it comes to the NFL draft in the end of April. If you're looking for a place to go, and don't forget home-style cooking 7 days a week at the Bay Family Restaurant. That is the Bay Motel and Bay Family Restaurant. Call them 920-494-3441 or go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. Joining us now on the hotline, our guy Mike Clemens standing by. Michael, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Bill. Doing good.
I love the fact that Matt Lafleur sought you out after practice the other night.
Yeah, that was that story I told you about the other day. had gone over the Seahawks tape, and we talked about how the Packers took a dip in their offensive performance in Seattle during the third quarter. And then there's this one play. It's like, why is anybody talking about this? Because Jordan Love is back there in shotgun, and the ball snapped, and so Josh Myers, who's made some mistakes in the past, and he starts turning to the right and double teams Big Cat Williams with Sean Ryan, the right guard. And meanwhile, there's an inside linebacker that's lined up over Jenkins over the left side. Now, Jenkins got a defensive lineman to handle, but this opens the door right up the middle, and this linebacker's like, oh, I'll take the door here. And he comes blitzing in, and he's about to kill Jordan Love. And fortunately, Jordan's able to, lob the ball over the middle where Josh Jacobs is there as sort of a safety valve, and he took it up, for about 4 or 5 yards. So I asked Lafleur about that in the press conference. He said, yeah, I don't remember that play. I'll look it up for you. I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Sure.
Right.
He just. So then I asked Jordan Love about it, and he goes, man, I don't remember the play. Yeah. Well, we got like 15 people, 20 people around him at his locker. So after that finishes, a couple minutes later, Jordan waves me over, and he whispers, he goes, inside screen. Oh, inside screen, of course. Yeah, they intentionally wanted to lure that linebacker in so Josh Jacobs would have that space open right over the middle. So I'm at Saturday's practice, and Lafleur starts coming over to us, and the PR staff starts to panic because they think, uh-oh, coach is mad. Because this never happens.
Right.
This never happens. Practice is supposed to be like game-like conditions. They don't come around and chat. And Lafleur's coming up and hey, Clemens. Yeah? He goes, I looked up that play, man. Okay. I said, inside screen? Yeah, how'd you know? Because Jordan told me off to the side. He goes, yeah. So he broke down the whole play for me. Had a nice little chat, and then they went back to
That's awesome.
Saturday practice. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man of his word.
Yep.
Man of his word.
No doubt.
So he won't talk much about injuries. Sometimes on the last day before they go into closure there before a game, Lafleur will lay it out. He'll let you know in advance. And the injury report has come out over the weekend. But, people are wondering, is Luke Musgrave going to play tonight? Now, he's coming off that ankle surgery from earlier in the year. I don't think he will. He was limited participation. I think he's still in his rehab. But, they've talked about how wonderful would it be to have Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, these two tight ends, and 12 personnel for like the first time. Rob Demoski said that ESPN looked this up. There's been 2,000 snaps since these guys were on the team, and Kraft and Musgrave have only been on the field together for 175 of them.
Wow.
Between the injuries, between the two of them.
Yeah.
So, some people wonder if Musgrave's going to make a comeback tonight. Quay Walker's out with the ankle injury. Javon Bullard, safety, out with an ankle injury, did not participate all last week. Evan Williams, the rookie safety, now he had a quadricep pop up in practice on Friday, so he had limited participation on Saturday. And then the big question is Jair Alexander. He's been out since October 27th. He came back in for 10 plays against the Bears. He's been dealing with his torn PCL he suffered toward the end of the game against the Jaguars. And so Lafleur was asked, are we finally going to see Jair?
He practiced. We'll take a look at the tape and then make a decision.
You think there's a real shot that he plays this week?
Potentially. We'll take a look at the tape, talk as a staff, and then make a decision.
Yeah, they're not going to kind of tip their hand. We'll find out 90 minutes, obviously, before the game or just prior to that. But they're also, Mike, facing a team that is very banged up. A lot of their offensive weaponry pretty much not going to be participating in this contest in the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, and it starts with their backfield. Now, they lost Alvin Kamara to a groin injury toward the end of their close game battle that they had with the Washington Commanders last week. And but you know what? They got some, and Chris Olave, and that would be one of their key wide receivers. He's had another concussion. He's had a couple, in the past, so that's a question mark. Derek Carr, the quarterback, a week ago they said he's, out for the season with this broken left hand. But Darren Rizzi, the interim head coach, the special teams coordinator, who, by the way, was a guy that Lafleur tried to hire, but he got better money and probably wanted to stay in New Orleans. And now he's interim. He's vying for a head coaching job. He's been talking about that, Derek Carr's trying to figure out a way to get back on the field. So it'll be Spencer Rattler starting at quarterback, a rookie. So Rizzi talked about his backfield with Alvin Kamara out. They'll use Kendra Miller, pretty good running back, Jordan Mims, and another guy, former Green Bay Packer Jamal Williams at running back tonight.
Kendra can kind of pick up where he's left off the last couple of weeks. Jamal Williams has had many, many games in that division, in that stadium, and he's had some really good ones. Obviously played for them and played within the division with Detroit, so he's got experience there. I think, between Kendra and Jamal and Jordan Mims, like I said, I think you'll see all those guys at some point during the game. It is going to be a committee approach, and I think we got to do a great job of accentuating the positives of each of those players.
Mike, one of the returns is going to be the guy that you and I both had a chance to meet with and talk with just before the Super Bowl a few years back down in Arizona. That's Marququart Valdez-Scantling. He goes from winning Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes, and he's bounced around a little bit. Now he's found a home down in New Orleans, but he's the guy because everybody else is pretty much banged up.
MVS, and he's the same MVS. He's fast, he's tall, and sometimes he makes spectacular catches, like 6 catches with Patrick Mahomes in a must-win playoff game. And other times, he has a couple of drops. Last weekend, he got banged up with a chest injury. Then there's a flu bug going around the Saints, which wiped him out a lot of this week. So he's questionable for tonight's game. And he was asked about, this head coach now, Darren Rizzi, interim head coach. Was that a controversial decision? Because here they score a touchdown with Spencer Rattler comes in the game, brings them back against the Commanders, a tough team. And then Rizzi decides, my offense is so banged up. Kamara's out, MVS is out. Let's just go for it now. And they could not convert a 2-point conversion. They lost 20-19. And MVS was asked, what did you guys think of that decision by Darren Rizzi?
Yeah, I thought it was the right decision to make. Obviously, we're fighting for a playoff spot. As you know, overtime rules in the regular season, you could not get the ball and they score a touchdown and you don't get it back. So we had the opportunity to win the game, from 2 yards away. I think it's the right decision. And obviously with Alvin going down and then me getting banged up in the fourth quarter, that obviously played a part in, what we can do offensively, so had the chance to go and win the game. I think it was the right decision to do.
Mike, I think, the one thing we're overlooking, because we know offensively they're banged up and a lot of their weapons, including their quarterback, are all down. However, their defensive front is actually good. And you don't want to kind of underestimate what their defense can do. Their defensive front can kind of get after it. So at least, when you talk about the competitiveness of New Orleans coming into town, like you had mentioned that they had just gone toe-to-toe last week and weren't able to pull it off. But they've got an ability to kind of get after the quarterback and also stuff the run.
Yeah, after Sean Payton left, they promote the defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, the head coach. And, you find out some guys are coordinators and some guys are not head coaches. And he just got to be stiff in games. He started dialing back and bringing up younger guys. And then he lost the locker room. Guys like Cam Jordan, 35 years old, defensive end, Pro Bowler, All-Pro. And he was now that Darren Rizzi's in, they're more aggressive. They're playing to what the locker room wants. And now Cam Jordan he's got like 15 quarterback pressures and a bunch of sacks since he's getting more snaps in these games. That's what these guys want. And so I talked to Adam Stenys, the offensive coordinator of the Packers, about they're strong on their defensive front. And I asked the offensive line coach, Luke Butkus, about Cam Jordan. Is he still really that good? And he joked around like, who? This is Luke Butkus.
Who? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's the ringleader. Still doing it at a high level after 14 years. Respect him. Respect the hell out of him because he plays hard every single snap that he's in there.
Their D-line's good. They have Granderson. They got Cam Jordan. They got Saunders in the middle. They do a really good job, and they're physical and big. Their blitz packages, their third downs, they got multiple different packages they use. They do a good job with Demario Davis rushing and picking and all that stuff. So they've done a good job all year just creating pressure on the quarterback, and they've done that for years. That's a problem. Every time you play the Saints, you know what you're in for, but they do a really good job getting after the quarterback.
Mike, the only thing you can, kind of ask for tonight is a little bit of nothing crazy rain-wise, but a little bit of snow, and then you take a team that plays in the South in a dome, mind you, coming north. If you get on them early, maybe you can put them away early.
Yeah, so the Saints now, they thought they might be playing still for a wild card spot, or maybe even for their division. But the Falcons won their game handily over the Giants yesterday, so the Saints were technically eliminated from any of the playoffs this year. But one of the things you might want to do is to knock down that pass rush, is run the football just like you did against Seattle. And so Josh Jacobs, the Packers running back, was asked about him playing in cold, snowy weather.
I like the game just because, cold games, snow games, because defenders don't really want to hit. And they kind of make them make decisions. You got to kind of make a business decision at times. And it's easier for me because I'm going to make you have to make that decision. So, yeah.
Does the inner kid in you enjoy the snow?
Really just setting the tone. I've had a couple of times where I feel like I could have made a guy miss, but I just hit him just so the team could see that. And feel that type of energy from me. So it just set the tone for what we about to do and who we about to be in that game. And it kind of makes defenders like, dang, we got to put up with this for 4 quarters. That's kind of my mentality, just trying to go in there and lay it on them for real.
I knew you like getting the ball. The team does well when you get the ball a lot. But do you have to have maybe a little bit less these next 3 games because the playoffs are coming up so you can be at your absolute best come mid-January? So you guys are going to get there.
Yeah, I feel great. I don't have no bruises, no nothing right now. So I feel great. Just as long as I feel good, I feel like we could do whatever we could do. If I was battling with something right now, then I would probably say be precautious. But I feel great.
There you go. That's Josh Jacobs. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. Mike Clemens live up in Green Bay. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget, if you're still out and about looking for something for somebody, Quick Trip gift cards. Oh, my God. Everybody loves Quick Trip. It doesn't matter if you're going in for the burgers, if you're going in for the hot food, the cold food, the bread, the milk, the eggs, the butter, stopping and getting gas. There is something for everybody at Quick Trip. And the Quick Trip gift cards. Look, you want to give me something? Give me a Quick Trip gift card. I don't care if it's $5, $10, a car wash. I'll take it. Doesn't matter. Love me some Quick Trip. Love it. And don't forget, use your Quick Rewards card. Go to quicktrip.com. That's quicktrip.com, KWIK, quicktrip.com. And now you can check out all the rewards and everything you have going on or get signed up. Again, go to Quick Trip. And if you got somebody in your life, you're thinking, man, what do I get on that last minute gift idea? Gift card, baby. Gift card. And they'll say, see you next time.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
At the end of the day, they have, all the heaters and the heated benches and everything. It's really when you get in between the lines and you go out and you do your deal. And that's not supposed to be terribly cold, so I don't see it being a huge factor. I'm more concerned about, is it going to be wet, windy, not so much the temperature. So, but we try to replicate and practice as much of that stuff as we can.
Oh, there we go. Little Cajun. Like it. Little Zydeco music. Hey, you're looking for a great place to go and watch the game tonight, or maybe you're looking for somebody to do the driving, get a hold of our friends at Stenys, Second and National Walker's Point, or the Stenys Lake Country, both of them running shuttles to Lambeau Field coming up tonight. So head down to Stenys, get yourself some of the award-winning Bloody Marys, some good wings, and then, boom, jump on the bus and head north. Check out a Packers victory, and they'll drop you right back off at Stenys. Good to go. That's our friends at Stenys, Second and National Walker's Point, and also on Watertown Road in Pewaukee. And as they say, you should be here, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you. Mike Clemens joining us live up in Green Bay. I do love the Cajun stuff. I like that. But like you had mentioned, you don't have Derek Carr. It is Spencer Rattler that is going to be the quarterback under center tonight for the New Orleans Saints, Mike.
There was a time in the season when he appeared in the game, and I remember you talking about it at the Saints game night, and it said then some Spencer Rattler came in. And you know how much I watch preseason football. I like this kid. I thought he had a live arm and showed some potential. They drafted a quarterback last year, Jake Rayner, and he got in, when Carr went down against the Commanders, and they benched him at halftime, and they brought in Spencer Rattler, and he brought these guys back, to where they were just a couple points from beating the Commanders, who, looked just brilliant yesterday. They sacked Jaden Daniels, the great rookie quarterback for the Commanders, 8 times last week. That's what I wanted to emphasize about their defensive line, with the pass rush that they've got going. And so Darren Rizzi, interim head coach, he's trying to find every angle. They had windy conditions. Temps were in the 50s last week in Louisiana, where it was 16 degrees here on Saturday. But then he brought the Saints up early yesterday, so they still had time late yesterday afternoon to get onto a field, probably a high school field, to do an outdoor walkthrough before tonight's game. Just trying to get these guys as acclimated, mentally ready for the weather. And then, so we're talking to Spencer Rattler, and he talked about his quarterback coach, Andrew Janocko, who took him into a freezer to get him ready. He talked about, Spencer said, we watched the film, and a lot of guys slip at Lambeau Field. He's right about that. So they're worried about their footing and cleats.
Obviously, our footing is the number one thing this week. We had to have our spikes in. We don't want to be slipping all over the field. You see that on tape. A lot of teams lose the games because they can't stay on their feet. Obviously, there will be some conditions. Luckily, it's been windy out here all week, so being able to deal with that in the passing game. And then, obviously, crowd noise will be a factor. We pump crowd noise in practice really loud, so we can replicate that. So we've had a little conditions out here windy-wise this week, but even this morning, Janocko took us in the cafeteria freezer where it was like 10 degrees, and we're just going through the whole script in there. And so just doing that, that helped a lot. So hopefully it's not 10 degrees, but, we'll be ready.
First time you ever called plays in a freezer?
Yeah, that was the first for me. But Janocko's an interesting cat, man. Y'all would like him. We got through it probably at 5-10 minutes. We were in there for a good little minute, but it was good.
5-10 minutes in a freezer is not going to do you justice if it gets cold and wet and snowy at Lambeau Field. I'll just say that now.
Yeah, he's in there in a freezer with the pork chops and the sides of beef and the ice cream, right? Yeah. So here's the deal. Now, this kid is played in a couple of games. Monday Night Football, Green Bay Packers. You're vying for a job. You want them to start thinking about, I'm the next quarterback, not Derek Carr or whatever other plans you got. And same with Darren Rizzi, head coach. He wants that job. And so these guys are going to would love to knock off the Packers tonight. And so Spencer said, how much pressure is on you tonight under the lights at Monday Night Football?
No pressure. I think I just got to go out there and play my style of ball. As Rizzi says, do my 111th. Everybody's got to do their 111th, do their part. And if we do that, the result's usually pretty good. So there's no pressure. Where we're at, we just got to play free. This is my first year, third or fourth start. I'm not looking to be a savior, but I want to go out there, play clean ball, play efficient, play at a high level to a standard that I hold myself to.
Mike, the Packers did not get some of the things to fall in place over the weekend to guarantee a spot in the postseason. So to be able to guarantee yourself a spot in the postseason, do it on Monday Night Football. That'd be kind of nice.
Right. And also coming up, you're on the road at US Bank against the Vikings next weekend. They haven't changed the time on that game yet, right?
Nope.
Noon game?
It's going to remain a noon game. Yep.
And then after that horrible Bears team is coming to Green Bay. I'm like, did you see the play where Jared Goff fumbles the ball? Right, and Jamar Gibbs rolls around the ground, and he picks it up and throws it to a tight end.
Yep.
Did you know that that Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, saw when the Packers played the Lions last year?
Yeah.
Jordan Love accidentally slipped.
Right.
And then he threw onto a wide open Luke Musgrave, and that was the inspiration. That's the kind of plays they're calling in Detroit right now. Just brilliant. And that was right after the Bears had one of their defensive players, getting flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. The Bears are such a mess right now. So Jordan Love said, a year ago at this time, you guys were like 6-7. You were fighting for your lives to get in, and now you're kind of even though you're with these two teams, the Vikings and the Lions with 13 wins. It's got to feel different. Like you're not under the same pressure you were this time last year.
It feels a lot better. Definitely a different situation. Obviously, still got to win, and we talk about all the time. Take it 1 week at a time. But definitely is a better position than having to try and win every game and fighting for that last position, not knowing what might happen. So, I think we did a better job this season, winning some games early on and putting ourselves in a better position. But we still got to go finish the season off the right way, and take it 1 week at a time and just set ourselves up to be in a good place when playoffs do.
He's right. You can't overlook this game to be able to start looking at the US Bank Stadium game. You hope that they're focused here tonight. But there is a connection, though. You've got the head coach of the Saints, correct me if I'm wrong, Darren Rizzi. He is buddies with Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers.
Buddies with, first of all, Lafleur wanted this guy to, special teams coordinator a couple of years ago, but the asking price was too much, and he got the offer to go with the Saints. But yeah, Jeff Hafley, who, by the way, are you seeing anything that maybe Hafley could be a head coach candidate?
No, I've not seen that out there anywhere. Most of the head coaching candidates that I'm hearing are all, Ben Johnson coming out of Detroit. They were talking about the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But no, nothing like Jeff Hafley right now.
Well, I heard a little bit of wonders, like if the Packers go deep into the playoffs this year, would Hafley get a job? Anyway, Darren Rizzi was asked, how long have you been friends with Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator?
I've known Jeff for a long time. We have a lot of connections from New Jersey. We're from the same area. We both worked at Rutgers. He actually replaced me, ironically enough, when I left. So we've always had some close ties. I've always followed his career very closely. He's done a really good job. Their linebacker coach, Anthony Campanelli, his brother is the head coach at my high school. So we talk about a small world. Just guys I really respect. I've known a long, long time. Like I said, no matter where Jeff has been, whether it's been in college or the NFL, they've always played really strong defense. And then you just look at what he's done just in a short amount of time this season, really kind of getting them back on track. And they've been very, very productive. So nothing but respect for Jeff and their whole entire staff.
The Packers defensively have been better. Statistically, they're not where they need to be, but they've been better this year than they were last year. I think we can all agree upon that.
Well, it looks like the pressure on the quarterback has improved. You're finally starting to see some sacks from Lucas Van Ness, who is still kind of dealing with a thumb injury, but out there. Rashawn Gary getting more production. So, we talked to Hafley about, look, that game against the Bears at Soldier Field, that was shaky. I mean, the Bears could have beat you had you not blocked, that field goal attempt. And then the Lions, you lost in Detroit to the Lions. You had some good things like Keyshawn Nixon's interception. Do you see that some bright spots in that you've turned the corner with your defense getting ready for the postseason?
That's a great question. And truthfully, I just don't have any time to sit back and really reflect on it. And then when you ask, I start to while I'm up here. And you bring up the Bears game. And we didn't finish in that game, but we were in the spots. We were closer and we were in the spots we were supposed to be. Then we played a really good game. And if you look at the Lions game, we did a lot of good things in the Lions game. The result didn't show, but the process was still right. And we were still getting better in that game. I told you we did some really good things in the run game. We did some really good things in the pass game. We couldn't get off the field in certain situations. And then you piece it together last week where we did finish when we were in those positions, and we did make the plays when we were in those situations, and we did get off the field on the third downs, and we did that. And now it's about consistency because we showed that we can do it against a good team, against several good teams. This whole season, there's a starting point to where we started and what we thought we could be. And what I've learned over the course of the year, and I've said this to you, my job wasn't to come in here and put down a playbook and say, this is what we're running. Initially, I had to do that because I'm just going to make stuff up, right? But then our job as coaches was to figure out who do we have, what can they do? And we've evolved through the year to give these guys we currently have the best opportunity to succeed. And along the way, we've had to change some stuff, which you guys have seen as you've watched the tape, right? We've had to get creative in some areas and we've had to change stuff up in some areas. It's the same thing when players get injured. So you have to be able to adapt and adjust. And I think when we're done with this whole season, hopefully we'll continue to play our best game the last week with that consistency. And then I think the beautiful thing is you're going to look at it, take a deep breath, really reflect, and then you're going to piece it all together. And it's just going to be that much better because we know who we are. So I give the players a ton of credit for the way they've adjusted. And in week, whatever we are right now, how they're playing. And again, it's not perfect. And there's some mistakes that we have got to fix if we're going to win and win and win. But I cannot be more grateful to how the players have bought in.
That's Jeff Hafley. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. More with Mike Clemens as we wrap up this hour. Don't forget, coming up on Saturday, March 22nd, we've got our first black tie gala and a black tie optional gala benefiting our veterans, military members, first responders, and their families for Big Unit Foundation. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. And everybody that went there last week and made a donation, man, thanks so much. We raised quite a bit of money last week. $300, which was just fantastic. Again, go to bigunitfoundation.com and find out all the information and all the details. You can buy tickets there as well to our Big Unit Gala coming up Saturday, March 22nd at River Club of Mequon in the Grand Ballroom. We're really looking forward to it. More with Mike Clemens wrapping up this hour coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
If you want to ride, don't ride the white horse. If you want to ride, don't ride the white horse.
Uh-oh. How we looking? Getting kind of funky.
White horse.
Welcome back to the program.
Don't ride the
White Horse. Mike Clemens joining us. Not that there's a true segue there, but Mike Clemens joining us there in Green Bay. Michael, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. We were talking with some of the coaches, and Rich Bisaccia has a nickname for everybody, the special teams coordinator, the assistant head coach. And so we asked him, like, how do you come up with some of these nicknames? He goes, well, I try and find something out about you, something that's, that means something to you, and then I turn that into a nickname. It's, we're just having fun, keeping things light. And so he found out that Edgerrin Cooper, who not only is this great rookie inside linebacker for them, but also, or a weak side linebacker, but also, he's performing on special teams too. He had a couple of big tackles last weekend against the Seahawks, and Bisaccia calls him Frosty. And so we said, well, what do you call him Frosty for? Well, it's the name of his horse. So we went to Edgerrin Cooper and said, "You have a horse named Frosty?"
So it's the name of my horse. So my horse I got at the house, it's Frosty. So ever since he found out about that, that's all. Since I got here, he's been naming me Frosty. So that's it.
A horse here in Green Bay or
no, Green Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the horse name? Frosty. You got it? You name it?
No, that was his name when I first got him. Yes.
How long you been a horse guy?
Oh, well, my friends, growing up had them for a while, so that's all I've been using around. And, God bless to be in this position, so I was able to, get my own. So.
Do you have a clause in your contract that says you can't ride the horse?
They're just pets right now. Just pets. They're all looking good in the front yard. So.
How many horses do you have?
Up to. Yeah.
Frosty and who?
Cinco.
Is it like the number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I spell it right.
Yeah,
I don't want to
you're fine.
How long you had them?
A few months now. Yeah.
He's got horses in his front yard. Now, I would assume he doesn't live in an apartment complex somewhere.
No.
There's a pooper scooper law going on up there in Green Bay.
The kids live in he's from Louisiana. By the way, he's got a bunch of family up here. A lot of them are Saints fans. And we said, "So did you grow up a Saints fan?" He goes, No. They had another team. And we say, "Well, what team was it?" He said, "The one we placed last weekend." I go, "Oh, really?" Yeah, when he grew up, it was the Legion of Boom and Richard Sherman and those guys, Cameron. So he said, he was a Seahawks fan, and that's why it was great to get back and into that game last week and have the big game where he's named NFC Defensive Player of the Week for a second time this season.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Well, Mike, I will see you at Lambeau Field shortly, and then we'll talk to you afterwards during the Green and Gold postgame show over inside the locker room, man. I appreciate it.
Looking forward to it. Should be a great Monday night football game.
There we go. That's the great Mike Clemens joining us live in Green Bay and brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. And that is going to do it for us. For those that are watching on the stream done. I'm out of here. I'm going to start heading up to Lambeau Field. For those that are listening all throughout the great city, if you missed the first hour, you're about to get the replay. So I'm going to talk to you later on tonight after the Packers and the Saints matchup. We will be live from Burkle's one block over for the Green and Gold postgame show. We hope to see you there. Otherwise, we hope to see you back here on the stream coming up tonight after the contest. Hopefully, the Packers get themselves a win. So until then, until we talk tonight, time for us to go. Come back and listen if you're on the network station. You can listen all you want. But I'm gonna be out of here. We got to tear the studio down. We got to get it back up to Green Bay and then go from